What we're looking at today is yet another entry into the compact utility space, this one from Jaguar. It's called the E-Pace, not to be confused with the new all-electric utility they're coming out with later in the year called I-Pace, even though you would think E for electric. Anyway, this is E-Pace, smaller than the F-Pace. It's built on the same platform as the Range Rover Evoque, and it has great driving dynamics and I think fantastic looks. To me, it looks more like the F-Type car than it does the bigger utility vehicles, especially the headlamps. Around the back, very sleek looking tail lamps. It's got a cropped roof, a small rear window, which is something you want to try out. But you know what? It really does look good. It's sold in many different flavors. So there's E-Pace with the 250 engine. I'll explain more on that in a moment. There's 3 versions of that. There's R-Dynamic with the more powerful 4-cylinder engine. There's 3 versions of that. And there's a first edition for the first people to get it. All E-Paces come with standard LED headlamps, and wheel sizes range from 17 to 21 inches. So the one I'm driving today is an E-Pace S. So let's get in and we'll find out more about it. So this Jaguar E-Pace is their entry-level model in the utility lineup, and it has that kind of feel to it, what you would expect. Very simple materials in here, but you know what? I kind of find it refreshing. It's got more in line with the F-Type car than it does with the F-Pace utility. Even the grab handle here, the way the heat and ventilation controls are large with 3 buttons there. Very simple to use even if you have gloves on. And above that is a large 10-inch screen with standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is a big screen compared to others that have 6, 7, and 8-inch screens. 10 inches is large. Now in behind the steering wheel, you can opt to get the 12.3-inch digital dash there. This one has the analog gauges, which I kind of prefer. As you know, I think those digital ones are kind of gimmicky. You set it and you forget it. So sitting back and looking out from this product, it does have more in common with the F-Type car, and I kind of like that. As I mentioned, this is an entry-level product, so you have some compromises. Lots of soft touch materials on the top, some harder plastic on the bottom, but I see that through the entire Jaguar range. Now, this isn't the biggest utility. It's great for a single young professional or a young couple or empty nesters. For families, probably the F-Pace is a much better choice for you with a bigger back seat and cargo area. And the window out the back is kind of small. Now, sure you can see, but it's something you have to take in mind if you're going to test drive one of these. Now before we go, there's one thing I forgot to mention. This car on the base model comes with cloth seats. The rest get these leather seats. Now, here's the good part. This E-Pace is a blast to drive. Absolutely so much fun. 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. There's 2 versions of this engine. And by the way, this is not shared with Ford. Remember the original Evoque had a Ford EcoBoost engine? No, these are the new in-house engines, and they absolutely do a fantastic job. Now the 2 versions are called the P250 and the P300. The P250 has 246 horsepower and the P300 has 296 horsepower. I'm driving the less powerful engine. I can't imagine what that almost 300 horsepower engine feels like, because this is absolutely intoxicating. It's addictive. The torque is wonderful. The power is great. The handling is first rate. It feels like a small compact car, but you get this utility design. It is a load of fun. Jaguar absolutely hit this one out of the park. It's different than the F-Pace. The F-Pace has a quite compliant suspension. This one is much firmer. There's settings here for the engine response. I like it in dynamic because that's the way I like to roll. But put the transmission in manual mode and absolutely this is a load of fun. It feels much more like a car than a utility vehicle, and there's definitely Jaguar DNA in here, and the engine is wonderful. Now, on this S model of the E-Pace, there are no paddle shifters, which is a bit disappointing. You do the shifting in the center console, which once you get used to knowing where it is actually kind of fun. Now, at 246 horsepower, this vehicle has more in common with the X3 and the GLC from Mercedes-Benz. And in fact, it has more horsepower. They're 241. So this has got to jump on that. Even though on size it competes with smaller vehicles. So just like the F-Pace that's kind of in between 2 categories, this E-Pace is as well, and it is a load of fun to drive, even though it isn't priced outside of its category. So close competitors to this vehicle would be the Q3 from Audi, the XC40 from Volvo, the X3 or the X1 from BMW, and so on. There's so many utilities now in the luxury space. This one is kind of different though. It's certainly dynamic looking. I think I've kind of falling for the design. It's a load of fun to drive. It feels very go-kart-like and very Jaguar-like. Starts at $43,000 for the base model. For the R design at $51,000, and the top model is $59,000. Now that F-Pace has been a massive hit for Jaguar. You see the sales just rocketing up every month, and this one is going to certainly be just as popular.